Hello there! This is Martin from Everyday Prepping, or Vardagsprepping in Swedish, which means everyday prepping. Today we're going to talk about something we all take for granted, which is water. So most of you are aware that most of the life on Earth is dependent on water. The human body contains a lot of water, and we need to drink or ingest quite a lot of water every day to be up and running, and most of all to survive. The average grown-up human needs somewhere around, let's say, 3 liters of water per day. And that's during normal circumstances. So if you do hard labor, like work a lot, and you sweat a lot, and it's warm and hot outside, you probably need more. And that's somewhere around 3 to 5 liters per day. But most people don't think about that so much, because we have water everywhere, in our tap, in our toilets. Maybe you even have a stream outside your house with clean, nice water. Good for you. But this is for you guys that are in the same situation as me, living in an apartment. So why is water why is it relevant with prepping? That's because we want to stay alive. We want to survive. And we don't want to be sick because we lack something. So in preparedness or survival, we often talk about number 3. So there is a saying that says we cannot survive without 3 seconds of hope, which basically means if you're hopeful, if you have a plan, you have a much more bigger chance of survival. So it's not that, oh, I'm feeling hopeless for 3 seconds and you die, but you already know that. The other one is that we cannot live without oxygen in our system, in our brain, for more than 3 minutes. Something around that. And then we have the need to have shelter. We often say that 3 hours without shelter in extreme situation, that could be hard rain, hard snow, heat. So we need to have shelter within 3 hours. Otherwise we'll probably freeze to death, or we might have a heat stroke. And then we come to the days, which is 3 days without water. And that's what we're covering today. So we all need clean water, because in a crisis situation, we never want to escalate the crisis. So let's say there's a power outage in your town or your country, depending on how big this outage is. What you'll notice is that it probably only takes a couple of hours before the water starts running, because most of the systems in Europe today, and I guess everywhere else in the world, depend on electricity to get rid of wastewater and to get you fresh water. So depending on the pressure in the pipes, say a couple of hours. That means that if the power goes out for a week, you're in trouble if you haven't saved water. And that's why in Sweden we like to have these canisters, plastic canisters with water. We'll talk more about them very soon. Each one of these contains 10 liters. It can take 10 liters. Which means that for an average human being, that's survival material for 3 days. Another thing that could happen is that your water is contaminated. Then you can also fall back to the containers of water, or you can start filtering water, or you can boil water, of course. But since this is about prepping, let's talk about storing water. So storing water is, well, you can store it in metallic containers, you can store it in glass jars if you want to. If the power goes out and you have a communication that it will be out for several days or weeks, you might want to start filling up containers of water immediately. But if you have stored water, you're good to go. And remember to think about all the persons in your household, and also if you have pets, they also drink water. So don't forget your pets. Do a calculation. How long is it feasible that we might need water? If it's a week, then a minimum will be 3 liters per day, which makes 21 liters for a week. And then you need to multiply that with the amount of persons in your household. So if you're 2, that's 42 liters for 1 week, etc. And then also count the amount of liters that your pets need. So let's have a look at some ways of cleaning water and storing water. So for cleaning water, so if you have water running in your tap, but someone, the government or an institution or whatever, you can maybe hear from the radio that it's contaminated, you need to boil it. Boiling the water is the most easy part, because we all know how to boil water, I hope. When you boil water, you want to get it into something called a rolling boil or big bubbles. So it's you can see that water is mixing and you have big bubbles. Not the small ones, but it will be like a roaring, boiling water. And you do that for 2 minutes, and then you cool the water off and you're good to go. Nothing survives there. You can also, if you don't have the means of boiling water for some reason, you can also use a water filter like this from Sawyer. This is a Sawyer Mini SP128, I think. I'll correct myself down here if I'm wrong. This is a good all-around filter, mostly used for backpacking or if you're going out into the wilderness, because you can actually screw this onto a bottle, a PET bottle, and then you can squeeze the bottle and drink from this. You can also attach a straw to this and put it down in a lake or stream or anything and drink directly from it. There is also more other functions for filters. So this is a tap filter from Sawyer. And as you can see here, there's a, I don't know what it's called, it's soft. So you can actually put it up over the tap. And then you can, let's see, and then you just open and carefully start pouring water. So it filtrates and you get clean water. I recommend Sawyer filters because they are very good. They last a very long time. This, I think, lasts for a lifetime if you just take care of it. So it's like 500,000 liters or something. So you want to have a filter that is low maintenance, that you can store, and that lasts a long time. Even though you filter, you might want to boil the water anyway for safety precautions. You never know what's in the water. And these filters, they filter out almost everything that's dangerous that could be in the water. 99 point, a lot of nines of that harmful thing, that harmful organisms, or the living things in the water that you don't want. So for storing water then, a prepared person would have both the water filters, they would have the means for boiling water, and they would be storing water as well. So I did a video in Swedish showing you the methods, and I think I'll just maybe do a voiceover for them now. Actually, you won't get a voiceover because I tried and it was really hard listening to my voice in Swedish and trying to speak and translate in real time. So I did, let's do another recording just for you guys. So what we're going to use to clean these suckers is a chlorine bleach solution. So in Sweden we have something called chlorine, which is chlorine bleach. And these come in different strengths, I think. So it's important to check on the backside and see the amount of solution you need to have in the water, because what we're going to use chemicals to kill all the bacteria or whatever can be in the water. So for this particular one, it says that if we want to clean containers made of plastic or stainless steel, we will use 1 deciliter of the solution for 4 liters of water. And the thing is, when I clean my containers, I don't fill them up. I don't fill them up all the way. It's 10 liters in this. That's a waste of chlorine bleach. So what I'm gonna do is maybe I do like 10 liters, but I use it for all my containers. So I put some bleach in here, or some solution. You can probably see there's a line of water here. So what that does is I need to, according to the instructions, I need to make sure that the surface is, the solution covers the surface for at least 30 minutes. Which means that I will be having this for 30 minutes like this, and then on the side, and for each of the 4 sides for 30 minutes each, and then on like this for 30 minutes. And when that is done, I need to thoroughly rinse this, and I usually rinse it until it doesn't smell chlorine. So have a look at the Swedish part where I do all these things. I've inserted it after this, and I think this was enough of an explanation without me needing to do a voiceover. Why am I getting all these ideas? Ja, hej, har det gått en halvtimme? Nu får de ligga en halvtimme till. Tiden går fort när man har roligt. Det är dags att vända. Jag vänder alltid som klockan, för då vet man, då gör man aldrig fel. Så att man har att dunkarna ligger på exakt samma sätt. Borde inte göra fel. Ni ser ju själva hur glada de är. Japp, då var det dags igen. Sista liggande. Sen ska de stå upp lite grann också. Yes! Nu är det dags att ställa upp schabraket. Det är det lättaste. Nästa är den svåraste delen, den som vi ska göra om en halvtimme. Men vi ses strax igen. Hej då! Okej. Nu har det gått 2,5 timme sammanlagt. Nu ska vi se. Då är den här redo att fyllas på. Jag kommer göra samma sak med de andra 6 sedan. Men nu ska vi ju lukta badhus. Nu försöker jag få bort så mycket av vattnet som möjligt. Luktar fortfarande badhus och nu behöver man inte. Så. Den här är också viktig att man, alltså när vi håller på nu med lock och sånt här. Nu luktar det nästan ingen klor alls. Så nu ska vi fylla på den här flaskan, eller den här dunken rättare sagt. Yeah, good to go. So, when filling it up, we need to fill as much of the container with water that is possible. Then it's gonna take a while. So now it's full, you think, but as you can see, so we need to get some more water into it. So I usually do like this, but it's difficult. Also like shake it. Now this is more like it. So we just have a little pocket of air in here. That's good enough. Because we don't want, we just want water. We want as little air as possible in this. And just to remind you, always when we deal with food or water that we're going to store, it's extremely important to have clean hands. But I guess you know that by now, from cleaning your hands for several years. One down, some more to go. Right now I think I can store the water for like 6 months up to a year. I did some tests and it worked out even if I hadn't, even with the water that's 1.5 years old. But you want to make sure that the water is as clean as possible, and that's why we say that you should change it every 6 months. But that all depends on how clean this water is. So in another town in Sweden, they have such clean water that they were able to store it for years and years and years. In Stockholm, I don't know. And if you're uncertain, you can always use like a tap filter, which cleans the water even more. Or you could boil the water, but that's you would have to boil a lot of water. So it's better to boil the water afterwards if you're concerned. But try Sawyer's tap filter. It will filtrate like 500,000 liters, I think. Check it out. I can't use this because I don't have enough space. But we have clean water in Sweden. Oh yeah, let's also talk about what kind of containers to use. Because I recently got an email from, I believe it's a German follower, who saw the documentary on Deutsche Welle, or maybe the one airing at Arte TV, which is the same. So he asked, where can I pick these up? And this is a Mylar bag, but used for storing water. And I think if you saw the Deutsche Welle documentary, you could see my son filling this up. So this is actually, when using these, I would not recommend them for storing water, but rather fetching water. Or if you're alerted by that there is a power outage coming, or maybe the power has gone out and you hear from the radio that this will go on for weeks, then maybe you can use this for the first couple of hours when water is still running. you can use this to fill up as much as you want to. And the good thing about these ones are that they basically, when you don't use them, they don't use any space. So this is like an old vinyl record in size compared to these. So I think this is like 20 liters, which would be 2 of these. But the good thing about preparing is that these are good, as I said, if you want to fetch water or just have as a backup plan. But if you are really worried about water, then maybe you should store water as well. And I think, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but when buying these containers, you need to have you need to make sure that you have the symbol with the wine glass and fork, because that means that this container is suited for having food or water in direct contact with the material. All right. And it's important to know when it comes to plastic that plastic is it's not a true solid material, because if we put water here, the plastic will slowly contaminate the water with plastics or with the substances that the plastics are made of. And that doesn't sound so good, and that's why we want to change the water every 6 months. So if you have a garden, please bring your full containers out and maybe water the plants or something like that. We don't want to throw away clean water. On the other hand, we want to be safe. We don't want to drink contaminated water. When you change the water, it's a good idea to also clean these containers. And as always, when we are in contact with things that we want to eat or drink, you always need to have clean hands. So wash your hands. So that's just some things about water. Remember, you can only survive for 3 days without water. If you, after those 3 days or during the 3rd day, you actually need medical attention to be up and running afterwards. So this is a very important thing in prepping. Never underestimate the importance of water. So I hope you enjoyed this episode concerning the water, and I hope I was able to do a voiceover and put some good content into this as well from my Swedish episode. Take care, keep on prepping. And as A American said to us, the best time to start preparing was 10 years ago. The next best time to start is now.